So when I come to an apiary after a hot spell, I always play Let's Hunt the Swarm. So this place is like a minefield to potentially find a swarm, and I was pretty sure we'd get one or two yesterday. So it's so easy to see. Can you see it? That's one I've found. These queens are in their second full year now. They were made 2016 end of, so they're going to need requeening soon, this colony. That's my aim this year, to get this colony requeened. It's been an amazing set of queens this was. They all were prolific last year and they're all still prolific now, but they're starting to swarm. But spring is so up and down and variable this year, I'm not surprised. I mean, just look at that. I mean, can you imagine trying to find a swarm in that lot? It's not too bad because you do look for a passage of bees. Once you see them, you know where they are straight away, but it's just a pig to try and find them in all this. It's just the way it is. But it's beautiful. There's some wiggling going on there. I better get this into a box, because they're going to want to shoot off soon. It's that time of year again. You see, this morning I'm doing my last transfers, so I had a truck full of gear. I've got nukes, I've got frames, I've got some feed in old frames, everything I need. So that's what being organised and beekeeping is all about. What I'm doing this year, I'm actually leaving a nuke in an apiary so that it can be a swarm trap and attract a swarm in, if necessary, or on the odd chance a swarm will come from my apiary and go into that trap. It doesn't happen very often, usually they go farther away. But that's what I'm going to do this year, because it covers you and it saves you having to go back and get a box and come back again. It's just all about being organised. So because I've been working this morning and sorting out other colonies and finished the nuke transfers, I've got frames like this. Now they're not the best, they're a bit old and they've had laying workers in. You can see the end of that, but they're clean. There's nothing wrong. They've got some pollen, some nectar. I mean, what a great start for a swarm. So this swarm's going into a 6-frame box. They'll be absolutely fine. They'll draw up everything in about a week probably. It's not a huge swarm, but it's not small. It's fine. So because I know also what you've got to think of is what feed requirements is this colony going to need. Now where we are now, I know the swarm is still the nectar flow is still pretty amazing for about the next week. So they'll have more than enough drawn up in no time at all with this box. So I'm just going to shake these in, but I'm going to also use some plastic to wrap around, because this gorse bush is like severely prickly. It's like absolutely horrible, but it's a lovely thin gorse. There's a fair few bees in there. I don't know if we've got the whole thing off. If not, I'll come back and give it a knock with something heavy. But we'll soon see. There's a lot of foragers out, and because I don't know how long this has been here, it's more than likely it's more than yesterday. So I can't really move it today. I'll have to move it tonight if I'm going to move it. If not, I might come back in a couple of days. It's pretty well hidden here, and there's not kind of many people. Now they're on a bit of a march now, so I don't know whether that means they found the queen's gone inside or what, but it's looking as though they're probably going to walk back up. I think they haven't got it in. So we'll see what happens. They're pretty nice bees actually. No, I think they're staying in. It's always a great sight when you hive a swarm. This queen should have been marked, so I should be able to spot her hopefully. Let's give it another shake and make sure I get the rest of it in on the front. I'm going to get my gloves out of the truck. A lot easier to deal with this. I think I've got a lot more in. Go and get some secateurs and just tidy up around here. Make sure I get everything. I think we pretty much got them in. We're all going up to one top part now. I'm fanning at the top and going in, so that's good. There's actually a little bit of wax there they were building already. I've knocked a lot of it off when I was tapping the tree, but it's amazing. It was probably built, you can see the wax there. It's probably built overnight. It's amazing how quickly they build that wax up. So I can get on with doing the other apiary now, checking that out while they just settle down. Put the lid on tonight, then they'll fly it from they're flying from the front already and already fanning, look, so that's a pretty good thing. Another colony not lost, and hopefully the other one will requeen, okay, but we'll see what their drones are like flying around here. All a bit of fun. More wasted time. Another box to pick up and put down somewhere else. So it's a really interesting question when you become a professional. How long should you spend hunting swarms? How long should you waste? And it is really a waste. How long should you waste, or time should you take to check around the area where your apiary is? Because this place here where I am is, you could spend hours looking and probably maybe not find anything, but what I tend to do is just have a quick look. My colleague who I work with, he's now near the end of his beekeeping career because he's just doing less and less. He wouldn't even look at a swarm in a tree hanging there, whereas I do what everyone else does. I just can't do anything but want to get it out. And he's been working in the apiary alongside me, and I've spent 4 hours trying to get a bit of rope around this twig and pull it down and shake him in a box, and he's just looked at me and laughed and said, "You'll learn." And sure enough, I still haven't learned. I still can't believe that I would leave it, but you have to be a kind of ruthless and just move on. I mean, I've left swarms in trees that are obviously out of reach, and I have swarm traps I put out with Nasanov and good comb and all that, clean comb, because you have plenty of clean comb. I put them out around apiaries, and you do get some back, there's no doubt about it. I have my marked queens going straight into the swarm traps. But at the end of the day, for me, the age of the queen has quite a lot to do with the ability for your queen to not want to swarm, and as well as giving them spring management, in other words, giving them as much space as you possibly can as they need it. And when the flow comes along, and knowing when that flow comes along, giving them that extra space and being prepared to give them that space. But at the end of the day, there's nothing you can do. No matter how much swarm control you put into place as a commercial beekeeper, you inevitably get some swarming. It just happens. I mean, we've just had like weather that's gone up to 28 degrees last week, and a massive flow from being really so cold for the time of year. As you know, we've had a really slow spring in Europe, in Northern Europe, in England and France and all that. It's been very delayed. But the UK are actually doing okay at the moment because their stuff is still delayed, and now the bees have caught up where they would be normally, but they're just 2 weeks ahead, and so is all the forage. Where here, we seem to have everything's come at once, and all the nests are getting clogged up. All the brood space is just flooding full of nectar, no matter what you do. You can put supers on, and there's just so few foragers and so few worker bees. Overall, there's less. No, I wouldn't say so few, but overall there's less, and there's less ability to manage that nectar that's coming in. So we have this problem where we're going to get swarming, but on the other hand, the flow finishes this week, so and it's going to go cooler tomorrow. So you've got to, as I said before, I'm going to do a little video on understanding your nectar flows, and this is a critical thing. If you know when your flows are going to stop and you haven't got any queen cells in your colony, you can relax, because you know that overall there's only a few that are going to go because they either will supersede or they're going to go because they've got nowhere to lay. But if you look at your colonies as an apiary, not just one or two, you go in and do say 5 selected ones out of them and get a feel for what they're like. If you go in and find they're not going any queen cells made, and you know your flow's going to stop that next day and it's going to go cooler, you're pretty likely to predict what the general thing is going to happen. We did a load of nuke transfers yesterday, and none of them had any swarm cells, even though they were absolutely packed, which was surprising. But the older stock, the production hives, have had a few in. But I think that's more because the colonies are older in the production hives, which would be logical. And all the younger stuff, which is this year's last autumn's nukes, last summer's nukes, are all with young prolific queens who aren't even thinking about swarming. All they're doing is thinking kind of, what are we doing in this tiny box where there's like so much food and everything else? But they don't have that initiation of swarming really because of the old age thing. Whereas when you get production hives, you tend to get more because the queens are older. But anyway, it's an interesting dilemma. What do you do? And I still like to, if I can get them out of the tree fairly quick, I will. But it's a waste of time, and you waste so much time doing it, and you just suddenly go, oh, where's 2 hours gone? It's just, it's hard, but you see that tree, and it's like the carrot. You want to get that carrot. You just cannot leave those bees there. And I'm sure loads of people would agree with me, but you always try and get it out. But the time you waste is just unbelievable when you've got so much to do. So anyway, have a good day. Catch you again soon.